We've been talking about the Muslim World Economic Forum in the last few talks, and today we hope to be discussing the modalities uh, and the need for establishment of such a forum, summing up the entire debate on the efficacy and the requirement of such a forum. When we move on to this, we need to first quickly view the economic canvas as it does exist on the planet. And what we get to see here is that we have different platforms and different unions that are addressing the world population and all the factors that make up for global production on the planet, i.e., addressing land, addressing labor, addressing capital, addressing enterprise, and all of this based upon a medium of exchange which each force or each platform wishes to uphold as an instrument of their strength. We have the European Union, we have America in isolation, we have the Chinese initiative in the form of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and so on and so forth. So that leaves pretty much 1/5 of the world, insofar as the Muslims are concerned, out in the core response. And then you have the like in Southeast Asia region, in the southern hemisphere, in the Americas, South America, and the countries therein, and of course the African region. Now this particular structure, on the basis of which global trade and commerce, global production, global industrialization, the usage of natural resources that are available on the planet are all subject to very deceptive norms, should we look at it from the legal perspective. This particular canvas, as it does exist, does not serve in strict judicial terms the rights and of the global population. That is why we get to hear of things such as depopulating the planet. We get to hear of double standards in addressing population welfare and the compensation of labor, the cost of subsistence for global populations in different regions. And this is a human right abuse. It is therefore imperative that in this brinkmanship of that does exist, different unions, different economic unions have to surface. We can't surrender the planet to one or two such forces. We have to proliferate the concept and it is best done from the judicial perspective based upon ideologies. So it is imperative that the Muslims of the world, which constitute about 1/5 of the global population plus, need to view their markets the synergy within, the factors of production within, the liberty of research within, and above all, meet up with the pace of material technology and development so that the globe moves at an even pace. To many, this may be wishful thinking, but this is a need. Should we, the Muslim people, want to lean back again on our ideology and would want to swim out of a state of global slavery, this is also essential because more than 56% of the raw material that is required for global production comes from the regions which are predominantly Muslim regions. So leaning on our ideology to set an example, to prevent global piracy of raw material, to upgrade and impact the standards of living for our people, it is incumbent that we view the creation of a Muslim World Economic Forum with the end objective of eventually a monetary union and a commonwealth. Right now, of the four factors of production, capital has been used and abused as the biggest tool for the diabolic and hegemonic nature and character of the management of trade and commerce, investments in industries, research and development on the planet. And as we proliferate these groups, this particular irony of oppression will get diluted by the day. So when we talk about creating a Muslim World Economic Forum, we have to obviously cast a view on the existing situation in the Muslim world. There is political expediency, there is ethnic polarization, there is sectarian polarization, and there is, above all, military alliances to protect governments in office. Now, this is considered a huge deterrent, and for those who would like to be made against this particular initiative or idea will inevitably put these factors on the table to dismiss, dislodge, and counter the desired goal. And the counter argument is simple, that, and it stems from an existing precedence of a very polarized Europe that was able to cause monetary union despite extreme ethnic differences, regional, racial differences, and religious differences. So what they picked on was the factor of capital, addressing of capital. In the case of the Muslim world, this is about the only factor which requires to be picked upon. And then the other factors of production on the count of land management, on the count of labor compensation, on the count of the freedom of enterprise, and the freedom of research and development will all fall into place. Capital, therefore, is the linchpin on the basis of which such an initiative will take form and shape. So when we want to address the establishment of a medium of exchange, a common medium of exchange, the prerequisite inevitably is our ability to be able to lean on one segment of society, and that segment of society is manifest in the form of people who are entrepreneurs, people who are businessmen, people who are industrialists, and people who are investors. They should be able to meet freely and be able to interact freely at a certain platform where their exchange of ideas, their exchange of initiatives will enable their respective governments to be able to address supporting legislation that will very swiftly see the realization, which will keep piracy out of our borders, which will keep the current hegemonic order of the world for economics, particularly political economy, get addressed in a more equitable, more judicious way. The deterrents in the Muslim world, as they meet the eye today, are definitely going to get will be outweighed once the basic objective of a platform, an economic platform, should get established. Because these deterrents, as they do exist, are based on political objectives which are not really religious or judiciously right. So, the creation of the Muslim World Economic Forum will outweigh the current deterrents that we see in the Muslim world, and the first step needs to be taken. Who's going to bell the cat is obviously the next question. When we look at the Muslim world today, we see Pakistan as the finest and the best contender for taking the initiative for a variety of reasons. First, the ample availability of the labor force, ample availability of land for its geopolitical location, requisite expertise within the human resources available, and then insofar as the sectarian divide is concerned, it is near non-existent, and the interaction is very harmonious and has traditionally been so for decades. Then the spirit of enterprise in this country is really epoch-making and has a history which any nation state could be proud of. It will be politically, strategically prudent to locate such a Muslim World Economic Forum in the beautiful valleys of Azad Kashmir and let it become an open ground for interaction between the economic communities and forces that do exist in different Muslim countries, to be able to meet there and interact with each other and bring to fore what probably a comparable platform in Davos with a different agenda is presently doing. Davos, for that matter, is a platform that is supporting capitalism and some major companies that fund it to retain a status quo of the current economic model as does exist on the planet. In fact, it is there to enforce oppression and hegemonic disparity between the corporations of the world, the big corporations of the world, their owners and backers, and the results are very clear that the global wealth has therefore become concentrated into their hands. The Muslim World Economic Forum, on the other hand, is poised to bring about something contrary and contradictory to the status quo which is being upheld, propounded, propagated from the platform in Davos. Because it is meant to execute those economic objectives, those social objectives that the Islamic ideology upholds, of equality, equity, fair play, and to remain in the service of mankind. Location in Pakistan and in Azad Kashmir again is very significant because of the military supremacy that plays a role in establishing, in upholding the status quo, for instance, the Western agenda, or for that matter, any other oppressive force. That requisite military strength and force is something Pakistan already has, and that can be leaned upon. We will therefore now move towards the factors of modalities. Any such platform will require establishment costs and a continued basis on which it would remain financed and in a manner that it can carry out research projects and it can hire the best brains that are available in the Muslim world to serve the cause. It is therefore proposed that individuals, legal entities, corporations, and some friendly governments or governments that do subscribe to the idea become initial promoters, and this particular membership can expand with the passage of time. Pakistan should be able to invite countries in the CIS region, countries in the immediate neighborhood like Afghanistan, Iran, Turkey. In Southeast Asia can invite Indonesia and Malaysia. In Europe can invite Albania, and so on and so forth. The business community within the Muslim world is again enormous, and they should in fact they would be happy contenders of membership, so that their ability to be able to interact with their like and be able to exchange ideas for entrepreneurship with their like become easily accessible and available. It is therefore proposed that a secretariat be created within Azad Kashmir at the location where such a forum ought to be set up, and as swiftly as possible. Let's reflect on the objectives that this particular platform, as soon as it is created, will be able to achieve. In the first place, it would be able to achieve all those factors that enable a united voice, a united front that would prevent the scavenging of the natural resources that do exist within the Muslim territories, comprising of more than 56% of global production. Number two, it should be able to address a very refreshing, very open, and extremely easy access for interaction between the Muslim communities, business communities, or people who are addressing all factors of economic production, enabling different types of methods that could influence unified legislation within the member countries and those that will join in subsequently to protect their own economic interests as they would become manifest. And this particular awareness is crucial because at this point in time, countries that are following the Western economic model or are forced to, in predominant cases, are not even aware of an option. And once the option becomes vivid and clear, then the hegemony ends and progress and development and a new dawn emerges. A dawn of welfare, a dawn that brings about towards owning the concept and the initiative. I must add that personally I would be very delighted to assist the governments of Pakistan and the government of Azad Kashmir in establishing this particular platform, and would be happy to bring to the table for this particular initiative a good number of countries, companies and legal entities, i.e. in organizations to the table. And this stands as an open offer. Thank you.